Hey guys, Short Stack Survival here. By now you've watched the super groovy intro and unboxing of the Voodoo 1-6. The Voodoo is a LPVO, which is a low power variable optic, and I just picked it up, so we're not going to be calling this a review. It's going to be more of a first impressions video. We're going to be focusing on the features and discussing why you might want this optic over other options available on the market. Without further ado, let's dive into the video and take a closer look at the Voodoo 1-6. Here's the Voodoo 1-6 mounted on a 14.5 pin BCM upper on a BCM lower. It's mounted to the upper with a reptilian mount. This whole setup was highly recommended to me by Gungus Khan. He's another firearm YouTuber. He is like a savant when it comes to firearms, and so when I asked him about a good optic for this rifle, he recommended this mount and this optic, and I didn't hesitate to pick one up. This is my first dive into Eotech, and I have to say I'm pretty darn impressed with it. It's very intuitive. One thing I did have an issue with, I accidentally left the reticle on, and by the next day it was completely gone. It was the original battery, so that was a little disappointing, kind of concerning, especially if you're used to red dots, especially aim points that can be left on for a year, 2, 3 years. So it's definitely something that you're gonna have to be mindful of, is in making sure that you turn the optic off when you're done using it. It's not one that you're gonna have on and ready to go. The nice thing is it is an etched reticle, so you don't really have to worry about leaving it on like you would a red dot. The caps that it comes with are see-through colored. The rear one is kind of like a yellow-ish color. The front cap is clear. It's nice because during the day, it really makes the red, when you have the reticle on, the red pop and stand out. If you wanted to take that off, you have super clear glass. This is some of the clearest glass that I have experience with. I know there's probably way better optics out on the market, but in my humble experience, this one is honestly really good. So it looks super clear to me. And the eye relief is really good. I think that's due to the fact that it's a 1-6. So some of the optics that go higher in power, like a 1-8 or 10 or 12 or even more, they're much bigger, and then once you get the power higher and higher, you really have to have your eye like perfectly behind the optic, and that's no real fault of the optic, it's just kind of how they work. So I think the 1-6 is kind of a perfect sweet spot. That's just my opinion. If you guys don't agree, let me know in the comments below. In terms of the optic itself, it's really smooth. It's super smooth, very smooth. And the 1X, I mean, it really honestly feels like a true 1X. A lot of times when an optic says 1X, it may just be like 1 point something. This one seems pretty accurate to me. One click on the top turret is 0.2 mrad. You've got one click over here is also 0.2 mrad, so you can kind of adjust your scope as needed. Once you've zeroed in your rifle scope, you can loosen the turret caps and then make sure that these don't spin because you'd lose your zero, and then you kind of pull up on them and you can dial it back to 0. And so what that allows you to do is, if you need to make windage or elevation adjustments on the fly, you know that once those conditions change, you can always return back to the 0 that you established on a previous day. So I definitely think this is a really cool feature. This one here is where the battery goes. So the top button turns it on and off, and then the left, right turn the brightness up and down. So that's pretty amazing. It's all, you know, watertight, sealed very well. And then you also have this diopter, kind of like you do on a binocular, so you can kind of fine tune the optic to your eyes. Everybody's eyes are a little different, so it's nice that they included that. That way you can get as crisp a reticle as possible. They have different reticle options based on your training and experience. You may want to choose one optic over the other. I chose the SR1 reticle, but the other ones would do the trick as well. So we have the Voodoo SR1 reticle, that's what I have. You have this larger, I think they call it a donut or a, you know, tactical ring or whatever. That's at 1 magnification. And then when you zoom in to 6, this is what you see. So this ring fades away and then you just see this portion there, and then you can use these hashes for ranging. And then on the Voodoo SR2, this is at 1 magnification and then this is at 6. So, you know, you've got some ranging hashes here, 4, 5, and 6. I'm assuming that's yards. Then you have these left to right horizontal hashes. You have your pinpoint red dot with the circle, and this one kind of is very similar to the SR3 reticle. So choose your own adventure. I chose this one, but that does not mean that these options aren't just as good or maybe even better. They're all first focal plane here. SR1 is kind of a universal reticle. SR2 is for 7.62 millimeter. And SR3 is for 5.56 millimeter. So some of the features of the Voodoo: aircraft grade aluminum, fog resistant, shock resistant, water resistant, anti-reflective lenses. I definitely wouldn't hesitate to pick one of these up and add it to one of your rifles. This was not cheap. I found it super on sale for, I think it was around $800, $850, which is a rockin' good deal, by the way. You know, I think full price, these are well over $1,000. So, you know, you're definitely gonna wanna make a good informed decision on this. But if you do have the money and you've been looking at a LPVO for your rifle, I definitely think this would fit the bill. So yes, if you're gonna pick up one of these, I definitely recommend pick up a crap ton of 2032 batteries, especially if truth be told, you never know. I may forget to turn the frickin' thing off again, and so I might be going through these a lot. Maybe I'll put like a little reminder on there, like, don't forget to turn it off, dummy, or something, so I don't keep going through these batteries. So final thoughts, why would you guys get the Eotech Vudu 1-6 over other options? And honestly, that's something only you can answer. There's so many good options out on the market. Trijicon, Vortex, Sig Sauer, Steiner. There's so many good optic makers out there, and so really what you're gonna do with your rifle will definitely make a difference. So for me, this is gonna be my go-to short to mid-range rifle, you know, maybe out to 500-600 yards. So just keep that in mind. You wanna know what you're gonna do with the rifle, and that'll kind of help you guys determine what kind of optic you want. I hope this helped you guys kind of understand some of the features that you can expect if you were to pick up an Eotech Vudu 1-6. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite LPVO out there, and did I do a good job choosing the Eotech Vudu 1-6? If you guys enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on future videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video.